How do you start an epoxy flooring business? Hi, my name is Nate Jones and I run this channel. I make videos on how to start businesses and which businesses you should avoid, which ones you should start, and videos on entrepreneurship. So if you get value out of today, hit like and subscribe. Okay, an epoxy flooring business. What epoxy flooring is usually you'll see garage floors with that slimy kind of wet look to it. And there's usually some speckles of paint in it. Very nice flooring. People love it because it doesn't leave marks like tire marks. It's easy to clean. It makes things look so much better. You'll see them in commercial properties, maybe in bathrooms, maybe in kitchen areas. They're very easy to clean, and companies really like it because it's easy to keep things sanitary. So this flooring is so durable, and it is very expensive. And I'm gonna go through how, if you started this business, how you can make $37,000 a month, or that's actually $444,000 a year. So stick around, I'm gonna share that at the end. But first, I wanna go through what is your mindset as you're starting this business. Number one, what we're gonna go through is here, can you afford the startup costs? This business, it does require equipment. So let's go through some of the startup costs here. You're gonna probably need a work truck or a work van. Not necessarily, you're not gonna have very large equipment at first. Maybe your largest thing is gonna be a grinder. Some people have the grinders in which you can sit on, very large grinders, or the grinders in which you can hold out kind of like a, I don't know, kind of like a bicycle type thing. And then there's hand grinders. So you're gonna need to buy some of those at the beginning. You may not need the big fancy industrial grinder. If you're only doing garage floors, you might be able to do a hand grinder and then a little tiny hand grinder to get the corners. The third thing you might need is a shop vac. You're going to need to make sure everything, that there's no dust or anything, so the floor can adheres to the concrete that's below it. So you need to make sure everything is very clean and ready to go before you're installing these floors. You're going to need mixing equipment, rollers, and spike shoes, and some other ancillary equipment that I won't get into. But basically, your entire startup cost is going to be anywhere between $20,000 to $25,000. And I included a van in that. I included a used, older, kind of beat up van. You're starting out, you're starting a business. You don't need the best van. You need something to get you through, get you making some money. And I'll tell you in a second here, once you start getting successful in this business, money is not going to be an issue. The issue is going to make sure that you get the jobs done. So I would advise that you don't get a loan with this business. I think this amount of startup costs is low enough in which you should pay cash for this. Certain businesses require you to get a loan that are very equipment intensive. This business does not require that. I would say don't get a loan with this, especially the way the interest rates are right now. Number two, think of, and this is what I always say, for every business I started, for every business that I evaluate, I become the biggest critic, which is think of ways in which it won't work, then create strategies around those things. And what that means is, hey, we're gonna tear this thing down. We're gonna rip apart this business idea, and we're gonna say, how can we minimize that happening to us? So, number one, you don't get any jobs. I mean, you got the equipment, you got everything, you're ready to go, you just don't have floors to put in, okay? So what you need to do is you need to create a sales marketing strategy. You need to reach out to general contractors, commercial jobs. A lot of general contractors sub out that. They don't do it themselves. You need to look at bids, make sure your bid's coming in right. You need to be planning ahead on how you're going to get sales. Every business, no matter what business it is that I've evaluated, that I've started, you got to have sales. Sales is the most important thing to every small business. It's actually the only thing that a small business should focus on at the beginning is sales, 100%. So create a website, get your SEO out there, which is search engine optimization. That means when people search epoxy flooring contractors, Louisiana or whatever, you're popping up very high so people see you out there. Create a Facebook page, and like I said, reach out to those general contractors. They're gonna have jobs for you, and if you do a good job for them, they're gonna continue to feed you. Another reason why this might not work is that your quality. That means that you got some jobs, you just don't know what the heck you're doing. You should have taken a course. You should have maybe shadowed another epoxy flooring company. I know of a guy who started a business similar to this. He went out to Vegas for a week, learned how to do this stuff, learned how to perform that trade, and then took it back and started a business. So there are things out there, especially in this industry, in which you can go learn for a week or two how to do the craft, come back and perfect it. So make sure your quality is up. Sales get your business started. Quality takes you out of business. You lose jobs. This is not understanding that you don't have time to do all the jobs. So that means you've bidded everything, you're doing everything, and then you're like, oh, I don't have time for that. You don't understand how long it takes to do a garage floor, how long it takes to do a commercial job. You need to understand your time and make sure that you don't overflow yourself with jobs, because then you don't have enough employees. You can't find employees to do the job. So make sure that you're organized. The next thing is money and equipment. So when I say money, I say that bad pricing could put you out of business. This means that your margins are too small, that you're not charging enough because you're just wanting to get jobs, or you're charging too much because your equipment is so expensive, or you spent too much money, so you feel like you got to get it all back in one job. Make sure your pricing is not the cheapest, but also not the most expensive, because if it's the most expensive, then you're probably not going to get any jobs. And also, if you run out of money, you're not going to have enough money to buy equipment or coatings when you need them. So you need to make sure that you always have money put back and ready to spend on the next job, because sometimes you may not get paid until the job's done. Or in commercial work, it may take you 30 to 60 days to get paid. So you need to make sure your money is right if you're getting into the commercial side. For any contractor, when you're on the commercial side, sometimes it takes 30 to 60 days to get paid. It's not the quality of the work, it's not getting jobs, it's not managing the money and knowing that, hey, I may not get paid for a while after I do this job, so I shouldn't go blow all the money. Okay? The third thing we need to do is we need to run a demand and opportunity analysis. Nate, that sounds so corporate. I know, but it's true. Demand and opportunity, you need to understand, is there a need for the product? Are people in that community buying the product? There's your opportunity, right? Usually epoxy flooring in residential communities are higher net worth houses. They can afford to spend, I'll get to it in a second here, how you can make $37,000 a month. They can afford to spend $2,500 to do their garage. People on lower income, that's not a priority for them. It's not a priority for them to make their garage look good. It's a priority to pay their home mortgage, okay? So make sure that you're in a good area, or you're close to a good area in which you can go to get those jobs. So are there too many epoxy flooring contractors? Usually there's not. This is an interesting business because there's high profit margins, but it's very labor intensive. So a lot of people get in this business, they burn out. So there's always going to be a need for it. Is there commercial work in your area, city? Make sure you're close to a big city. I always say the best businesses to start, a best place to start a business, you can start in a small town, but I think if you're near a big city, and you might have to move to a big city. Everyone says, oh, why do I have to move? You need to move if you want to find opportunity in life, okay? So if you want to start a business, you want to grow a business, you need to be close to where there's a lot of people to interact with that business. If not, you sell to everybody in your town and you still don't make any money. Okay, fourth thing you need to do here is you need to legal up. And when I say legal up, I say get an LLC to protect your assets. Limited liability company. That means it's limiting your liability. When you get an LLC, if something south goes on, something south happens to your business, you don't lose all your assets. Make sure you get an LLC. It's so easy. You can Google how to do it. It'll take you probably 10 to 15 minutes to do. Get insurance. Make sure you get insurance, because if you screw something up, somebody gets hurt, maybe for some reason somebody slips on the floor or something, you could get sued being in business. No matter what business you start, you can get sued into, and insurance is one of those things that transfers that risk to an insurance company. Transparently, I own an insurance agency. We do a lot of commercial insurance. If you ever need a quote, or if you want some help with that, just reach out to me. We'd be happy to help. Also, make sure you have a client contract. I see so many contractors that don't have a client contract. What's a client contract? It's a contract that outlays what you're going to do, that holds you and the client accountable. Reach out to a local law firm to help you draft that, but it's something that you definitely need, because if something goes south and somebody doesn't pay you, you got to have something that somebody signed that you can show up to court and you can win the court case. So, number 5, this is what everybody's been waiting for, how to make $37,000 a month or $444,000 a year. So I looked up what's the average cost for a garage. I'm not even looking at commercial work, because that's a whole nother beast. I'm just saying, how can you make this just in garage floors alone? So how to make $37,000 a month. Garage floors cost, people are willing to pay around $2,000 to $3,000 for a 2-car garage. So I put an average of $2,500 for a 2-car garage. So how many garages would you need to do just to make that money? So if we're looking at $37,000 a month and $2,500 per garage, that puts us at 14.8 garage floors a month. That's 15 jobs a month, okay? So if we do some quick math, 15 times 10, that's 150. So we're looking at 180, that was quick math, I didn't do this before, 180 jobs a year, garage floors, for you to make $444,000 a year. So how much is that a week? If we talk yearly, it messes us up because we're like, what the heck, man, that's so many. But if you look at it weekly, you only need 4 jobs a week, and that's at $2,500. If you get some commercial jobs, we could just kind of even this out, but 4 jobs a week, that is a lot at the beginning, but but you can achieve this if you have the marketing, you have the sales strategy like I mentioned before, and you're serious about it. 4 jobs a week. So that's not bad. So 4 jobs a week, and then I looked at profitability, right? Because profitability matters. The only thing that matters in business is profitability. If you're not turning a profit, why are you in business? You're not in business to pay your employees. You're not in business to pay everybody else. You're in business so you get paid. Remember that. So 50% profit margin I put because there was no real statistics on this, but I said 50% profit margin should be what you're at. In any business, you should be aiming for 50%. And I said this business, when I was really doing the math, I was like, you should be hitting that. Because this business is a labor-intensive business, which basically means that you're essentially paying for the labor and the expertise of the person putting in the floor. You're not necessarily paying for lumber, paint. You're paying for paint, but the paint is expensive, but it's not that bad compared to $2,500 for a 2-car garage. So you're really paying for somebody who's coming out and is going to work hard to install that flooring. It's kind of like roofing. You're paying for labor, okay? So huge profit. So if we're looking at 50% profit, that means every month you're making $18,500. For the year, you're making $222,000 in profit. That is huge. It's a very profitable business, but it is a business in which you need to work really hard. It will break down your body, but what you can do is, in this business, you can scale it. And that's what I say. Every business, you need to think about which and ways, and you can scale it. If you can find employees, you can find people who are willing to work hard. Because you're making so much profit, you can pay those people really well. I know people in the epoxy flooring industry that make very good money just as laborers because their amount of money they make on these jobs, they want to find employees and they're able to pay them a lot. Now, it is very hard work, like I said, but if you can find employees, you can scale that business, and you can find the right jobs, this is a great business to be in. If I were to give it a score between 1 and 10, any business over 8 is a business I would start. I don't like how you can't sell this business, but you might be able to sell it if you can show that you have reoccurring revenue. That means in the community that you're the go-to epoxy flooring person. I don't think you're going to sell it for 3 to 4 times the revenue, but I think you might be able to sell it for about 1 times to 2 times the net profit. So I would give this a 7.9. Just because I think the sellability of it might be a little bit hard to create value. But again, this business you can make a ton of money in if you're willing to work hard. So if you got value out of this, hit subscribe and hit like. Thank you so much.